One of the stuntmen on this movie is named Digny Pozo.
The true hero of the film.
Digny Pozo! That name is so amazing! Look, I'm not making fun of it, I'm genuinely delighted by it. Dude's name is Digny Pozo. That's amazing. He has an Instagram, he's a stuntman, a circus performer, fucking check him out. He's in this movie, I don't know where, but his name is Digny Pozo, and that's fucking awesome. If my name was Digny Pozo, I would introduce myself by my full name every time. Every time.
Okay.
And I would insist people call me by my full name.
Okay. They've been like this for like, I feel like going on, just ever since we walked out of the movie.
Like 5 minutes. Just Digny Pozo.
Digny Pozo over and over again.
I saw his name and I was like, who is this guy? And I look him up. He's got an Instagram. He's doing stunts and shit, fucking balancing stuff. He lives in Florida. He's pretty cool. He seems like a chill guy. But his name is Digny Pozo, and that's awesome.
I feel like that's the only thing we've gotten out of this 2-hour movie.
Right.
So...
That works as a bumper, right?
No, I think we're well past the point I would have cut to the intro by now.
We could just cut, I don't know, we could...
Oh, no, we're fine. Don't worry. I'll figure it out in post.
We could just have the bumper be like Adam Skywalker, you know? Like, anyway, we'll get to that.
So, yeah, this is Black Adam.
It was bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
It was pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
But here's the thing. It's not entirely boring.
It's so weird, because this was like an auteur project that The Rock's trying to get out of the ground for 15 years.
And look, I'm happy that he got what he wanted in that sense, but they chose the wrong fucking director.
Yeah, no, this is not like, it's a hot fucking mess. There really is not other way to describe it. The pacing is all over the place. A lot of the acting's bad.
There's no tonal consistency.
It's so in a hurry.
There's no stylistic consistency. There's no character development.
Yeah, I was gonna say for a 2-hour movie, it feels like it's still so crammed in.
Yeah.
And there's like no room for the characters to actually fucking breathe.
Yeah. The human characters that like the normal people that they introduce, you get zero time to get to know them, to really care about their connections. You're just like, oh, okay. You know, these two are brother and sister, and this is the son of this woman, and that's as much as you get. And she loves him because he's her son, and you I don't know. But it's supposed to have, like, this whole thing built up. Like, they're the people you're supposed to care about. They're supposed to be your emotional anchor to the movie. And fucking, like, the first Transformers movie did a better job than this. Like,
this feels like it was test screened within an image. This feels like it was test screened with an inch of its life. Like, everything feels like, oh, we got to change this because more people might like this part, or more people like more that part, or maybe like that will look cool, or maybe that will look neat, instead of actually telling like a good story with good characters.
It really does this. It has the same writing problems as parts of the original Suicide Squad.
Yeah, big time.
When
editing too.
And hilariously enough, when they go to fucking Amanda Waller to introduce the team that's going to be taking on Black Adam, it does the whole, like, weird little exposition thing with just saying, like, oh, it's this person, they do this and this and this. It is literally as bad as the first Suicide Squad, except without the weird, crazy font choices and, like, whoa, we're crazy. It's like a boring version of that.
Yeah.
And you don't get time to get to know any of these characters. Each one is just this little archetype. You have the really smart... like the super genius girl, you have the sort of awkward dude who doesn't understand social cues and like wants snacks, much like the Flash.
And they made him as dumb as they fucking could.
Yeah. They try to do some slapstick with him. It mostly does not land.
And like, here's the thing, like, I really, like, I actually am excited by the trailers. For me, like, this movie, like, decent.
I was hoping that it might not be terrible.
Like, I wanted this to be good because I want good DC films.
You know what? I sorry, keep going. I have an idea.
No, it's like, because I like Dr. Fate. I like Hawkman. I like Atom Smasher sometimes.
Oh, God, the guy they got as Hawkman, like, that was bad.
Yeah, but, like, watch it here, it's like, oh, it's so wasted. Like, even Pierce Brosnan, who was, like, doing what he can.
I think he did the best that he could, and generally the best out of most of them.
Yeah, like, of the bunch, he was the best, but even he has some, like, awkward fucking moments. And then, like... the Dwayne Johnson himself, and like I like Dwayne Johnson enough. Like, I'm not gonna say like I get excited for his performances whenever I see him in a movie. Like, he's gonna be Dwayne Johnson for the most part.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, I can tell he's trying. I can tell he's trying to do something a little different, even though he's kind of doing that I have to look cool at all possible times thing he does.
I know that, I think it's funny that The Rock really wanted to play a character that was so stone-faced, but it really is.
What? Oh, that took me a minute.
Yeah, it did. But, like, it really is this thing where I feel like this is the result of a lot of conflict between the studio and the creative team, aside from being directed by a director who's just not really a good director.
No.
Like, it's clear that there were... Like, I was really thinking about this hard when I was watching the movie, because the elements of a cool movie are in there, but it feels like, one, if there was any real character development, it was cut out by the studio. Like, a lot, like, this was definitely edited down. That's known already. They cut it down from an R rating, and I wonder how much they removed, not just in terms of, like, stuff that would make it R-rated, but stuff that would actually flesh out the story instead of just making it punchy time most of the time.
Well, that's kind of what I mean by this movie was test screen out of existence.
Well,
basically.
I don't even know if it was a test screening so much as just fucking, like, studio just being like, just edit the shit out of it.
Well, true, but it also feels like the skateboard comes to mind as like the most openly pandering thing, because there does feels like a lot of things like ooh, throw that in there because that's what kids like.
It's this thing where, like, the soundtrack is also very bad.
Yeah.
It's really on the nose a lot of the time, and the song choices were like the fact that when you first see him fly out of the big tomb and it starts going in slow motion, he starts murdering a bunch of people. It plays Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones.
And you feel like it's trying to like the Quicksilver scene from like X-Men Days of Future Past or something.
Sure, yeah. And I even said, like, later, it's like, oh, this is like X-Men Apocalypse, like this moment. But it's weird to have a moment where, like, I can look at you and say, like, at least Zack Snyder knows the music to pick for a scene where, like, it's slow motion and everyone's being murdered. And you were, like, not disagreeing.
I almost brought up zombies from Army of the Dead.
I was thinking Army of the Dead, too. I was like, at least that knows where to, like, how to do the violence and the action and where to, like, put these things.
Yeah.
And for... God, I wish... this would have been better handled by Zack Snyder, like, in a lot of ways.
It would take itself a lot more seriously, but I don't know if...
It would, but I would say, like, if we got, like, a little bit of Army of the Dead Zack Snyder...
Maybe.
Mixed with, like, the over-serious Zack... Like, if he just knew... If he was able to have enough chemistry with The Rock for The Rock to be like, look, I want this part to be fun. I'll be like, you know what, okay. I feel like that would work out. And I don't know. It's rare that I watch a movie and I think, like, this would be better as a Zack Snyder movie, even though I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder. He has a very particular style, and it goes well with certain scripts. And, like, this just felt like it was trying to do multiple things at once, all of which it has done poorly.
Yeah.
And the musical choices for a lot of these scenes were weird. Like, there's a certain song they play for like 5 to 10 seconds at a time.
Yep.
Which is...
It's really disjointed and really distracting.
It's weird because it's literally like... It's literally like a rip-off of the Matrix soundtrack, where you have like the break beats and like... And the string section, it's like a Don Diablo. It's like
we'll get to Diablo in a bit.
No, Don D's a Diablo. Don Diablo is a DJ from San Francisco. I think it was Don D who did the soundtrack for the original Matrix movies.
Okay, I wouldn't know off the top of my head.
Well, he's a fucking legendary soundtracks, great film score. Outside of the actual like songs they picked, the film score for the original Matrix movies had a lot of that like late 90s, like, overly slick kind of breakbeat drums and all that stuff. And they have something that's like a ripoff of that for a few seconds at a time when the kid's skateboarding a couple of times. And it just... If you're gonna drop a song in there for a mood, have a scene around it. Have, like... It actually... Give it time to take effect. And...
As opposed to, here's a song you'll recognize.
And that. Like, and at one point they bring Kanye West Power into it, and the way they edit the song together, it's really confusing. Like, if you know the song at all, which if you were alive in 2010, you've heard it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But if you remember it well enough, you will remember how the song is structured a certain way, and the way they edit certain parts together feels very strange. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. It's clear they just wanted to insert the song for some reason, and I don't know why they would have paid the royalties that they would have had to put that song in there if they were just going to use it for that really brief moment of time.
Yeah.
And again, I think that that's another result of studio cutting shit down. I think there was more in there.
Maybe.
And
yeah,
like,
it wouldn't surprise me.
There's a lot of creative choices that just don't make sense.
Yeah.
And it leads to a very disjointed experience. And
a third act, which just sucks out any possible enjoyment you could have had of the film at that point.
The villain, when he takes his final form and becomes the actual villain,
it's ridiculous.
It's a little better than the original design for Steppenwolf in Joss Whedon's Justice League, but not by a lot.
No. And I think because at that point at least I could see kind of what it would the original pitch was going for. Like it's talking about Western interference in Middle Eastern affairs.
Yeah,
which is a cool thing to go with. Like
as a Persian, good to see that even brought up thematically at all. Really sucks to not see it done better.
I was gonna say, but then it's completely dropped by the third act when all of a sudden they have the big bad villain, literal demon guy, who shows up, and then it's like, oh, never mind, they're okay now. They're all fighting the bad guy. Everything's fine. We're not gonna talk about it again.
Yeah, it's like, and the bad guy even says something about the idea of people invading, but then
the invaders help, so it's okay now.
Well, it's not just the invaders help. Like, he does stuff that would hurt his own people, which I guess calls back to the tyrant from the original, olden times. But, what's the point? Like, you're just gonna, murder all the people and then have the legions of hell populate your dead city? Like, what's the goal here? It's, the motivation for the character is really threadbare, and you don't really understand his goal. Like, other than he wants to sit on the throne and be king.
It kind of feels like it reminds me of Doomsday from BVS mostly in that feels like instead of answering the biggest question he brought up, let's make a big scary monster that everyone can fight at the end and then kind of ignore everything else. I know we have disagreements about that. I don't want to get into it, but I just bring me when I think of it. It serves a similar function, in my opinion, in that it's like, hey, we're going to bring a big evil demon monster and have it overshadow everything else we're talking about so we don't actually have to resolve anything. Or we can put a nice, neat bow on it towards the end.
That's not what that was, but okay. You can continue to intentionally misunderstand that movie.
We're not doing this again.
Then stop bringing it up.
I brought it up as an example. I told you
it's a bad example. It's not correct. Do we have to do this again?
I don't have the patience for this.
Do we have to do this again?
I'm turning 31 next week. I don't have time for this.
Do it. Then don't start it.
I'm trying to move past it.
You brought it up.
Anyway, so we're talking. It's an almost 8-year-old movie. Let it go.
You let it go.
I have let it go. I wasn't even saying that angry. I just brought it up as a general thing.
It's a wrong thing.
I don't care.
I do.
Leave me alone about it.
No.
Clearly. Jesus. Anyway, so skateboards.
Wait, when the mom hit the dude in the face with the skateboard, how did she get it back? Because she wasn't carrying it when she ran away.
He has spare skateboards. He had a rack of them. I assume he just got another one.
He's got Mary Poppins' backpack of just skateboards. What if he just stopped and just started throwing skateboards out of his bag at people?
At least that would have been funny.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Interesting or creative. But
also, Adam Smasher's mask is just a fucking palette swap with Deadpool.
No, everyone pointed out in the promotional
it's really
campaign
bad
too when they showed it. It's like that's just Deadpool's mask. It's they're not even pretending it's anything else.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
But yeah, that was most obnoxious. I don't know why they think somebody's trying to make skateboards a thing. I don't know it's a minor thing, but it bugged the fuck out of me because it was for me late 90s, early 2000s, where skateboards are just fucking everywhere.
The Middle East is a couple decades behind American and Western trends because it's it takes a while.
So maybe that's just a cultural thing that I don't fully understand.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's also this thing where it's Hawkman
Yeah, Hawkman.
Hawkman.
Oh boy.
It's very clear that the director was there were so many parts of this movie where the take that they chose was so strange.
Yeah.
And it felt like the actor was trying to do something interesting with the lines instead of taking the obvious approach, which I understand is kind of like an exercise for actors trying to do something in a way that would stand out, but it really just results in the character delivering a lot of lines in ways that do not land emotionally.
Oh yeah,
It's really bad.
like the one we both noticed again, where this kid character who's riding around skateboarding the entire time. At the very end, when like the demons from hell are coming out of the ground.
God!
And there was a point where he goes to this crowd of people, and he's
It
like,
gives this rousing speech, which is just him like, "Hey, what are you waiting?" Like he's not shouting like, "Hey, pay attention! We have to pull together." He's just like, "Hey, we can't lose hope now. We gotta do this with your hands." And everyone's like, He's right. What are you waiting for?
We do have to do this with our hands.
It doesn't. It's so underwhelming. It is laughable. It's so bad, and so many of the jokes they try to land.
Yeah, like the whole catchphrase thing.
They're poorly timed. They're and that's the thing. I feel like a lot of them could have landed if the editing had been slightly different.
Yeah.
Like if it had left a little bit of more of a gap between the lines.
Yeah,
or if
I
it
agree.
had left a little bit more of a gap between when they say the line and when they cut to the next scene. Like so much of this movie is lost because of the editing. Like they're just creative choices that are out of the hands of the actors that could have been fixed in post. And it's so baffling. It really feels like this was given to people who don't know what they're doing to make these things work, and it could have been better, and there's still some of that in there.
Like I was gonna say, or the first time Black Adam X shows up, he starts just killing the fuck out of people. Like,
oh, I enjoyed the shit out. I wanted to see the R-rated cut of that.
like
really.
that was fun. I had a good time with that, and like you know what, like even though I'm kind of against like doing R-rated superhero movies largely in general, like if you're gonna do it with any character, Black Adam's what you can get away with.
And honestly, the first dude he shocks to death, like he fucking melts. And it cuts away a couple times to stay away from the super gory bits, but you could tell they could have done that. Like, that was in the original cut. I wanted to see that.
Like, because Black Adam is straight up murderous psychopath, so like he will like rip your head off if you look at him wrong. So like you could do that with a character like Black Adam.
Yeah, I really just wanted to. I wanted to see those fights go the whole 300%. Like,
yeah. And again, like if there's any character you can do it with, I'd rather do a Black Adam than Batman. So
why do you gotta keep bringing this up?
I was more afraid of the Rob Pattinson on that one.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So
Teslas still sound really weird to me.
They do. I don't like it either. Because like I don't know, like it's the whole like. I did not like the Rob Pattinson Batman interpretation, but anyway,
it's you know,
it's not bad. It's just not good.
That's a whole nother debate for people to have.
Oh, I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comments.
I'm not a huge fan, but the idea of like the dude they're getting to play the Joker, I really fucking hate that concept. I hate that actor so much.
I hate the design.
Yeah.
See, that is that's a case where I'm more mad about that one because that's more recent. That's more fresh in my memory.
It's like it was even just a deleted scene, but just seeing the deleted scene out that somehow retroactively made the movie worse for me.
It did, honestly.
Yeah, it was rough. Too. I was like, oh, that's what they're. Oh no.
Like it's really just unnecessarily grotesque and unpleasant and not good.
The guy's performance was fucking bad, and people were like, "See, it's so amazing because he just knows these things about." No, I'm like, he's just written that way. He's written like he's so clever, but he's not. There's no logic connecting these dots. He's just like this fucking sage that Batman has to go see because he just knows these things, and they have a different. Like, I like the idea of that being a different relationship, but the way that they give him that wisdom or whatever, just. It's so superficial and contrived, and I fucking hate that actor. And God, And
also, like, again, just reinforces that this particular Batman is a fucking idiot. It's not very smart, and I don't get why people say he's smart.
He's young amateur Batman, right?
Yeah, I guess you can make the argument, but at the same time, I do have to reinforce that 2/3 of the movie happened because Batman doesn't know Spanish.
And I also appreciate that everything Batman does more detective work in this movie. He just does it slowly.
And badly.
Yeah. Like, every time he does something on a crime scene, he's like...
Yeah. It's like how it should have... I don't usually like how it should have ended animation anymore, but the one they did for the Batman was pretty funny. I love your commitment to the bit here.
What does it say? It's for me. And it's like, hi, Batman. Like, just like, it's the word. Like, it's so fucking, yeah, it's.
But like,
it makes some I like some of the creative and stylistic choices that they make as far as like the sound editing and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
But like, there's some interesting technical elements to that movie. But overall, like, the more you think about it, the worse it gets.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, Batman, like, master detective, like, super, like, master of stealth and fear, slowly sachets into every single room he walks into.
Oh, God.
But, like, yeah, like, the how it should have ended had a great bit where he's, like, the whole, like, that tool he finds towards the end, where it is like, what, is this a clue? It's like, it seems too simple. Hey, does anyone know what this is? And they're like, oh yeah, that's used for carpets. Hold everyone move. Hey, so we stopped your bombs.
What was like, oh God, what was it? Oh God. Oh, there's too much. I can't. It's a 3-hour movie. I feel like we should redo that. We should watch it again and redo the review just to be like, this was not that good, actually.
It's really not, and I don't get people that say it is.
Dude, the number of people on Twitter who are like, oh my God, this is cinema. I'm like, you have got to get a subscription to the Criterion channel or something. Like you have no idea what the fuck you're only saying this because your familiarity with like depth and art has been like centered around Marvel movies by this point. And like you have no
actually, I would argue it's the opposite problem because they want to dismiss like Marvel as like do the whole. It's people that's more. I have found the people that defend the Batman the most are also the same ones where you're like, oh, you're just like the MCU. It's almost like there's almost kind of a Venn diagram of that.
No.
Because they want to say like, oh, this is dark and gritty. This is real cinema because it's serious and dark.
It's not even that. I'm saying that they like the MCU.
See, again, I've always found the inverse. Where people don't like the MCU.
No, I'm saying they like the MCU, so they've never seen a movie that actually does like, you know, slow fucking zooms and stuff. Like, they don't know movies that actually like are slower paced and take their time, and so they just see a movie that's really slow and not awful, and they're like, oh, this is what. Wow, I'm feeling things that I've never felt before. It's like, dude, you should watch some real fucking movies sometime and get an idea of what, like, actual artistic filmmaking is like and actually expose yourself to, you know, more than your standard fucking theater fare.
I do agree with that to an extent. I still say the people I find the hardest defenders of the Batman are the ones that also would be the most annoying negative people about the MCU. That being said, I do agree with people that build their identity entirely around MCU films do need to go watch more movies.
I also think that you have a disproportionate amount of interaction with those kinds of fucking shitty trolls.
I don't look for it. I just find them.
You're in that realm.
I am in that realm. That's why I find them.
Oh, God. In any case.
Yeah, anyway. Black Adam.
This is more fun than the Batman.
Yeah, it's that.
But it's also much worse than the Batman.
Oh, by the leaps and bounds.
It's really bad.
I think like What Culture tried to rate the Batman higher than Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I was like, are you fucking joking me? Lost a lot of credibility with me that day.
What rating thing? What review?
Like it was like What Culture did a list like the best movies of the year so far, and they put like the Batman above like as number one and over Everything Everywhere All at Once.
What did the Batman have to say?
Nothing that didn't get muddled by its own presentation.
What is the messaging of the Batman? What is the moral of the Batman story?
You know I'm gonna get a bunch of annoying, fucking pretentious comments.
I don't fucking care.
I do. I gotta deal with that shit.
I'll go read them. I'll be interested to read them.
I don't, because it means I gotta deal with them because they're annoying.
No, you don't.
I do.
You just leave them there. You don't have to respond to every comment.
I don't respond. You have no idea how many comments I block.
Yes,
Regular face.
but you don't have to block all of them necessarily either. You could just be like, dipshits. Let them wallow in their own filth. We're being really terrible about our viewership right now. But, like, the actual lovelies who come back and they love us. We know we love them. We know we're not talking about them. But, wow, your battery does not last very long these days.
To be fair, I did not get a chance to fully charge the camera before I left today.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. Well, most of the movie was because he didn't know Spanish. That's really funny.
Yeah, right?
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? What do you mean, why? I mean, what's Spanish for where?
Walks up to the penguin. Donde está la biblioteca? What's the library? What's the matter with you? Come on! What are you showing me? Come on!
Shouting very loudly right now.
Sorry.
Anyway.
And not one person looks up.
You are shouting at the same volume.
Sorry. Unconscious habit. And
you do it all the time. You need to
look, it's
reel it in.
We're in the car. Who gives a shit?
I do. It's in my ear. I am the one who experienced it.
You shout at me just as much as I shout at you.
Not like
that. Disagree.
You have a natural volume that just expands as you talk, and I have to be like, hey.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah. But when we're in a restaurant talking about our dreams where we murder a bunch of people, I had to remind you to stop speaking so loudly.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
I didn't get in this car to be this deconstructed.
I'm just saying. Anyway,
I'm just saying. Not what also makes the Batman a bad movie is not one point. There's no thug looks up in the sky and goes, "Oh no, it's the Bat."
He's not that famous yet. They don't know to fear him yet on that level.
Well, they do when he casually sachets.
Sachets?
Sachets, I don't know that I'm sure.
Sachets!
Sachets. That's how Sean Connery says it. She sachets into the room.
It's the event that the RuPaul's Drag Race holds when they have a Shawshank Redemption themed fucking competition event. It's like,
where they gotta crawl through a river of shit to get to the runway.
Shawshay. RuPaul dresses as Morgan Freeman, but in drag. Oh my God! So this is how interesting Black Adam is.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It's not good. It's just like it. There's so many more interesting things to talk about than Black Adam, even if they're hypothetical and like weirdly contentious. Like it's just, it's fine. It's a couple hours of punchy kicky, and otherwise abysmal. Like
some of the fight scenes are neat. But,
it had a couple moments where we laughed. Some of them unintentionally. But there's a lot of creative choices that went into the post-production of this movie that just ruin it. And it's just, it's unfortunate. And I would say, go see it if you're looking for a superhero movie. Why not? There's
I don't know if I go to a theater to see it.
I feel like going to a theater is the only way to see it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Imagine seeing this without the fucking Dolby setup. Imagine seeing it at home on your screen. It's...
At least I can pause it, take a break at home. Yeah.
I mean, look, if you want to be able to fucking suffer through it at lesser impact, sure. Break it up into parts. It did take me 3 different sessions to get through the original Suicide Squad, but, I'm saying at least here, the big punchy kicky scenes are big and punchy.
That's true.
With the big sound and the big screen. Outside of that, I don't see how this would fare as a movie at home. It's just, it's nothing. It's got nothing. It's empty.
I'm sorry for shouting at you.
It's okay.
I don't know. I don't have good control over that. I don't really know how to fix that problem.
Well, it's, everyone knows that part of having an old bickering marriage is it being somewhat slightly abusive when it gets emotionally heightened and then both of you regretting it and apologizing afterwards. So I accept. I'm not apologizing for my part, though. I wasn't wrong.
You don't have anything to say to me?
I have plenty to say to you, but I wasn't wrong about any of what I said.
I want a divorce.
No, you don't.
We're going to talk about this in counseling.
You're going to counseling?
You're coming with.
What?
There's a court order in place. You're going.
We went to court?
I did.
How much did I drink?
Enough.
Not enough, apparently.
Enough for me.
Anyway. I think that bit has run its course.
Yep.
But yeah, just, sucks.
At least we got Tar tomorrow.
Yes, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, so we got Tar tomorrow, and then me and Sarah are talking Circle of Sadness on Thursday.
I wish I could go see that with you guys.
Well, you're going on vacation.
I'm not going on vacation. I'm just going out of town. I'm still going to be working the whole time. It's not vacation.
Okay, well, you're going to be out of town.
Yeah, I know.
I go to Smith Tower while you're there. It's a cool place.
Where?
Smith Tower.
Where?
It's like as tall as the Space Needle, but cheaper and has whiskey in the top.
Where?
Smith Tower in Seattle.
Oh. No, I'm not going to Seattle.
I thought you said you were going to Seattle.
I'm going to Seattle Airport.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to somewhere else in the towns around Seattle.
Fair enough.
I go up to Washington to see people, not places.
Gotcha. Makes sense. All right. Fair enough. Well, try to enjoy yourself.
I'll try.
All right. In the meantime, see you guys tomorrow.
Oh, Human Centipede.
I somehow knew you were going to bring that fucking
Well,
movie.
we're not done. It's not Halloween yet. We can't just,
Yes, we
just
can.
let it go.
Yeah,
No, we
we
got to get
can.
Wes in on this.
Wait.
We said we'd get Wes in on it.
I do need to talk to Wes again.
Yeah, we'll talk to Wes and say we'll watch the Human Centipede trilogy. The whole the movie Centipede.
I'll do the one of those
I have
things.
the movie Centipede.